James. So we're down here at the bike shed today. We brought in our Brough Superior SS100 MKII to talk to you guys about and give you a little show around the bike. So I'm actually part of a company that hosts rides on these things, and therefore I'm blessed with the luxury of doing more miles on this bike and others similar probably than anyone else on the planet. We've got these bikes on Prescott Hill Climb. This one particular managed to get up to the Bike Shed Festival at Lyddon last weekend. It's also took itself up the hill at the Goodwood Festival of Speed, and we try and take any opportunity we can to represent the fact that these bikes are ridden. A lot of people are buying a modern Brough Superior, putting them in their sheds, building a plinth, showing their friends, and maybe doing a couple of special ride outs once a year to enjoy them. But we're trying to create a legacy where people can come and use these bikes, get the most out of them, and we've curated a trip to hopefully give people the optimum opportunity to see what these bikes can do and treat them like a motorcycle. So as the Superior Motorcycle Experiences company, we run 6 of these out of Dorset. We also take them to the Pyrenees, and we take every opportunity we can to show people just what this bike can do. I guess the best thing is for me to show you around it. So we'll start at the front and I'll show you through a few things that make this bike a bit special. The real talking point you'll find is these quad discs. So you got 2, they float, they're both sides. You got absolutely 0 ABS. This thing stops on an absolute sixpence. And it scares people primarily to think that's a lot of stopping power for quite a lot of bike, but actually you get this thing up to cruising speed, you get above 30 mile an hour, you need no energy on that brake at all to get all the stopping power you would normally get from a huge Brembo disc. You've got this phenomenal front suspension setup with a spring buried in there underneath the tank against the frame. That is sort of a cantilever 70s style BMW design that's been reimagined for this machine, and every chance they've got, you've got CNC pieces hanging off it. You've got these beautiful indicators, one of which is feeling a bit worse for wear after our trip to Lyddon at the weekend. Not done on track, but actually just trying to get ourselves there in time. And working your way up, every chance they had to CNC something, CNC levers, CNC reservoirs, CNC bits on the top here to hold the handlebars in. Got a little hidey hole there for a steering lock for if it was needed. Tiny little forward controls here and there for making the most. Nice comfy grips, stylish mirrors. One thing you find when you're riding these, that suspension drops your head-up display but brings the screen up to meet you, which is always quite a harrowing thing first time you barrel into a corner on one of these and grab a whole bunch of that front brake. You've got this iconic tank. They do these out of spun aluminium. They've put the tank straps on there for effect. They're not holding it on particularly, but it's a period thing again. You've also got this double system for filling the fuel. Both of those work. It's just a choice which one to choose. In period, back in the 30s, they maybe would have been 1 oil, 1 fuel, but these days it's just as a homage to the bike. So each one of these bikes is given a serial number. They're only ever going to make 300. This particular bike is 101, and we've got 93 and 96 and 6 other numbers, but everyone off the line is given this little gold plaque to remind you that you're one of 300 special people ever to have one of these. And then when you work your way into the engine there, you've got one-of-a-kind V-twin that's been built by Akira down in Biarritz. They make World Superbike and BSB engines. They do some stuff for some of the big 5, and this particular engine has been built specifically for this bike. 1000cc V-twin with a really big angle on it, and there is apparently torque. There's a supercharger drops in the middle there. This that you're seeing underneath the tank, is the frame. So it's a stress member construction, which means that that's all you've got as a frame for the bike. The swinging arm is hanging off of the back of the engine, and also the forks just tie into that sort of front section of frame there. Everything else is just built off of that motor. So it brings a bit of the weight down, and also means that the bike can look a little bit more slender without having that down tube there. It's a bit hard for you to see, but these tubes on our bikes are blued up, which they wouldn't be on probably most Brough Superiors around the world, because ours see quite a lot of action. We had George on track at the Shed Festival at the weekend, managed to put this one on the floor around all of the hairpins, which was quite enjoyable to watch, and he was enjoying relaying that back to us. And again, you're into CNC work on things like casings and rear sets, gear shifters, whatnot. A lot of your fuel actually sits in here. So you've got that big beautiful tank, but as I say, the frame is sitting under there. A lot of the engine management system is sitting under here. So I've got a couple of pockets of fuel and then a pump system bringing me fuel back up from here. This particular model's got the suede seat on it. I'd prefer to ride with that because it means that I don't slide around in the saddle. Some people prefer it with the leather because it means you can adopt a different riding position different times. We're still running the standard cans on there, so it makes an okay noise, but you know, there's more to come from it. You can get a race exhaust for these. And this one actually blew the sort of tail piece out of the exhaust because it was going around the track at the weekend a little bit of heavy pace. And then for me, the real kind of shocker with this machine and the thing that people sort of struggle to get their head around is this beautiful swinging arm. So if you follow me down to the floor, it's one piece of aluminium that was developed and designed for them. The spring's integral sitting in here, and then as I say, it's stress member, so it's hanging from the back half of the motor. The chain passes through it both on the back and the forward pass, which dictates the size of that rear sprocket and means that if you wanted to gear the bike up or gear the bike down, it would have to be done within the engine. Anything else and you start chopping the swinging arm in half. And I guess really besides the wheels, every single piece of this bike is bespoke to the machine. It's been built in-house by the guys at Boxer Engineering in Toulouse. We've added a few bits because our bikes see, you know, everyday riding. These racks are to try and protect the backs when people are kicking a leg up and over the bike. We've got engine protectors on the radiators on the front, and we've got a sump guard on the base of the bike just because we've had people take these off of curbs and such a long machine with such a low slung kind of stance, it doesn't always end well for a sump when you're crushing across the curb with it. But all in all, they're a pretty fantastic machine, whether you're looking down, looking forward, looking back. Everyone seems to enjoy them when they're out on the road, and I guess we should go get it started and you can hear for yourself. So this is how it sounds. Okay, so forgot to mention, this particular bike is going to be left here on display over the winter, so probably till later part of March when we start needing it again and the weather gets good. So if you're interested in taking a look at the bike for yourself and taking in some of the fine details, make your way down to the bike shed and come take a view. Hope you all enjoyed the video. If you're interested in bikes and bikes similar and fantastic stuff like what's in the background, be sure to subscribe and yeah, get along to the website and check it out.